Hi you guys. So total mess Sunday. Haven't even combed my hair I think today. But I'm doing a project because it has to get done. Nature is pushing this project. A couple of weeks ago I realized it's coming to the end of the season. Apparently I was a great gardener this year and I have tons, literally like 2 or 3 boxes full of tomatoes. And they're not like the teeny tiny tomatoes. They're about the size of green zebras. So I knew these were coming on and I was going on vacation. So before I went on vacation, I went online really quick and I ordered this food dehydrator. This is what I'm gonna do the review for. It's a food dehydrator, a Presto. I've never used a food dehydrator before. This serial stock number is 06301. I have dried herbs in my back sunroom, so I figured you don't really need a complicated machine. There were some machines up to $200. This was 60-ish or 70, I think under $70. The price point for dehydrators I think is around 40 to around $200 or $300. I picked this because 1, it was cheap, 2, it got really good reviews, and 3, you can see the space in between the trays. And it looks like they're big enough to do my tomatoes, so I don't have to do a lot of prep. I didn't want to cut all of the tomatoes. I wanted to get something that was big enough that I could just chunk the tomatoes in there and go, because I'm gonna have to do a lot of batches, so I need to make it simple. And the other reason I got this was because there were 6 trays, extra large size food dehydrator, and this seems to be it, but I'll let you know. This is what it looks like out of the box and the packaging. Fairly simple. I'm gonna go put it together. There's a top sheet that tells you how. I'm not super great with lots of detailed instructions, so I'm just gonna go down and dirty. It looks like there's a picture of how to put it together there too. And I'll let you know how long it takes to put together. One cool thing about this book, because I was wondering, because I've never dehydrated and I don't know what you do. I don't even know if there's prep for tomatoes. You know, when you can stuff, you gotta watch for botulism and weird shit like that. This has a little sheet for fruits, and it also has a sheet for vegetables, tomatoes. So apparently I don't have to do anything with tomatoes. There's no pre-prep, you don't have to blanch it. You can peel them if you want. I'm not going to because I'm lazy, and I think they're, I know there's a thing about tomatoes, the small ones that just take forever to peel. When I do bigger ones and can them, I do peel them because the skin actually holds some things that aren't great for our digestive system. But with the small ones, it's just impractical to do that. So really, I'm hoping the only prep is that I rinse the tomatoes. If I have to cut some of the bigger ones, but most of them I should be able to just throw in there whole. And it says this takes about 6 to 11 hours to dehydrate. When I'm done with these tomatoes, my plan is, because I'm not a canner, I will grow the tomatoes all day long, but I do not like to can. I don't really like to do a lot of this prep stuff, but I'm hoping this is something easy that I can learn how to do. I'm going to put them in Ziploc bags with olive oil and some herbs, and then I'm going to let them juice and marinate, maybe overnight or something. I don't know, I'll look that up. And then I'm going to throw them in the freezer. So I'll be able to pull them out and put them in sauces and delicious dishes and meals all winter long. And when you get, the purpose to doing a dehydrator is you go to your cabinet or closet or can and open it up and go, oh, these were picked in season, so they're packed with nutrients, plus they were from my backyard. Heirloom, organic, delicious, not traveled, not crapped with, not sprayed with pesticides. So I'm giving my body like the best nutrients that I can. So I'm gonna take this in the kitchen, I'm gonna do a quick time lapse of putting it together and throwing it all in, and then I'll do one more little quick vid at the end to tell you how long it took me and what that process was like. So thanks for joining me today, you guys. Okay, that is 6 layers. I did a whole box of tomatoes. You can see them in there. Timer was pretty easy. You just look at the temperature and you just set the timer and turn it on. It was pretty easy. It is kind of loud. So that's going to be running like 11 hours and it's like 7 p.m. So it's going to be running into the wee hours of the morning. So that might be a little annoying. You can put this in like a back room. If you helpful tips. They say to keep it on a flat surface that, you know, air can get underneath and around it so it doesn't overheat, I would imagine. And one thing I did mess up is they do tell you put the ridge side down, put the fruit on the flat side, and I got going and forgot to do that, and so I had to unpack actually 2 or 3 of the trays and repack them. That was a pain in the ass. So tip, stack them all the right way and stack them handle, no handle, handle, no handle. They say to start with a handle because you end with a no handle at the top and then put the top on it. So if you just stack them all in the right direction as you're grabbing them and loading them, they'll be all set up and ready to go. So who knows how this will go, but I'll check back with you in the morning and let you know how they hydrate and what the rest of the process entails. So it took me to pack all 6 of those layers, and that was a whole box of tomatoes. I put in a ton of tomatoes. It took me about 40 minutes, I'd say. So longer than I thought, but well worth the time, I think, to save all of those tomatoes from the garden. Hi you guys, so I just finished all of my tomatoes, drying them. Have a few tips. I am a newbie at this. Take them or leave them. I'm not an expert, and I did not study things like botulism and proper storing and all that shit. I just kind of went for it. I'm going to tell you what I did when I went for it. But disclaimer, do your own research. Do your own research. First of all, it is a fairly easy machine to use. I noticed I dried 2 very moist things, tomatoes, and we also did pears, to experiment with pears. And I noticed the bottom 2 layers get really, really dry. They said to do it for 11 hours. And I noticed the bottom 2 were really kind of dry and almost got a little crunchy. And then the top layers took a little bit longer. So I don't know if it says in the book, which I didn't read anywhere in there, but I would probably just alternate them if you have really something moist that you're putting in there. And it may have been just because I stacked it to the hilt and I packed all of them because I did a ton of tomatoes. And what I decided to do with my tomatoes was jar them. Look at that, delicious chunks of garlic, balsamic vinegar, salt, and my sun-dried tomatoes for my garden. I think that should last a couple of months. I checked into a few things, and the other option I was going to do was freezing them or throwing them in my freezer, which would have been an option too, but I just put them in really beautiful quality olive oil. And I'm actually gonna, it made 2 big fat jars like this. And then with this second batch, I'm gonna probably make about 4 of the smaller jars and just give them as gifts of love to friends and family in my life who love to cook and might enjoy them. Okay, what can you do with sun-dried tomatoes now? I'm like, I don't even know. What do I do with that? I know you could probably put them in sauces and things like that. But I also just randomly had a delicious sandwich the other day from a local bakery, and it was sun-dried tomatoes and a beautiful like herb encrusted goat cheese sandwich. Delicious. So it's one thing to can, but you gotta like use the shit you can. And I've noticed sometimes things can sit in my pantry if I'm not quite sure what to do with them. So I try to also see, okay, if I'm gonna can these, how do I use them? What are some delicious recipes I can put them in? And that expands my range of recipes and eating into different recipes and meals that I've not had. And so that's a beautiful thing too. So these dehydrators, this one was pretty easy to use. I don't think that they're super complicated. So just get one and try it is what I would advise. I don't, proselytize or preach about any one product. I'm not doing this to get paid. I'm just doing this because I buy some cool shit. And I think I take new adventures like this, and I just am sharing it with you. So if you have a curiosity, hope that helps, and post below if you get a dehydrator and what you do with it. So have a great day.